Hey Josh, so basically what happened with Sid Vicious, previously
Yeah.
didn't end up very well. And I felt really bad about it because I wasn't, I didn't have any experience, working on cars and stuff. So I did some research. I watched some YouTube videos, read a few manuals, and I decided I was going to go over to Sid's house and I was going to try to fix his car.
Like
I
to
want to
his
make,
personal garage, like where he
yeah,
keep.
yeah, to his house in Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah. So he didn't know I was coming or anything, and I wanted it to be a surprise because I felt bad, right?
Naturally. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I went over to his house and things didn't go so well again.
Oh no.
Yeah,
No.
I messed up again.
Is there video this time?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Again? Oh
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Well, let's before the show starts, let's roll it. I want to see this.
Where are you? Why me? Why me? Why me?
Dude, you got to quit this. You're driving this guy insane. I think just leave well enough alone. Let's do the show and just leave Sid alone, okay? You're gonna really make him mad.
Good evening and welcome to episode number 30 of Slash Trax Action News. I'm Alex Vanover.
And I'm Josh LaRue.
Happy Thanksgiving week, Slashaholics. Happy Thanksgiving week, Josh. Do you have any plans for Thanksgiving, buddy?
Sleep. Lots of it. And I'm going to be thankful for it. And anybody that's watching this right now, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Ours hasn't happened yet. Yours just happened, what, 2 days ago?
Yeah,
So
this
you're
drops
still-
Saturday because we're talking in the future now. But I'm in present day, so we don't want your future and my future to cross streams, and they'll skew into another reality, which will lead us to Jumping Jeff Farmer.
Is that really what would happen?
Yep.
That checks out. That really does check out.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So he needs to keep his Thanksgiving future away from my Thanksgiving future, away from your Thanksgiving future, and don't cross the future streams because that could implode every atom and particle in the known universe and cease to exist everything.
You know, considering that we present the really important news and everything on this show, a story we've covered in the past cancels out you saying that you're living in the present, because we've actually had a story where it's been proven that we're always living in the past, right?
Yeah, we are.
We never
actually,
truly live in the present.
No, because your mind can only process. You can't process moment by moment, so it's always processing things like milliseconds behind of what actually happened.
Yep. See, I paid attention to the news. Did you?
Are you asking Jumping Jeff Farmer or the audience?
Just the audience. Just the audience.
Okay. The audience is like, yep. Hey, Josh, so I'm going to hit him with the Patreon, and then I'm going to hit him with the email.
Right up there is the Patreon, patreon.com/80s Slasher Librarian. You can also use I'm tongue-tied. You can also use the QR code for our PayPal, if you want to donate to the channel, it's going to be like somewhere there or there. It's on the screen. And, that's a great way to do it. If you don't know how to use a QR code, use the PayPal email in the description below. You can also donate on Cash App down in the description or get a cameo video from us. But if you just want to give us a hard time, ask us questions, complain, whatever you want to do, how do they do that, Alex?
They can get a hold of us at slashtrax2020@gmail.com. And if you want to ask a question to me and Josh, if you want to pose a would you rather for a future episode, if you want to have a Dear Slashy question, you got some advice you need help with, and you want to contact the Slash Track boys, go ahead, write us at slashtrax2020@gmail.com. We'll get back to you. We check our email every day, so we actually are one of the channels that if you write us, 9 times out of 10 we'll get back to you. Unless you're an absolute dick, then we won't. But if you're nice to us, if you treat us like a normal human being, we will definitely get back to you. And if you're a prospective sponsor, company, or a scout, or someone that is looking for some sort of sponsorship deal, get a hold of us at slashtrax2020@gmail.com and get a hold of us, and we will peruse it. And if it's not a virus, maybe we'll be getting back to you.
There you go. And that's from past experience.
Mm-hmm.
Can I share a quick story before we get into the good comment, bad comment?
Yeah.
I did not get a picture. I wanted to take a picture, but my wife and my daughter and I were running some errands earlier today, and we stopped at a bakery. There was a sign on the door, big letters, that said "No outside balloons." I did not get the context for this, but Alex, what type of situation happened so many times that this bakery had to put up a sign that said "No outside balloons"? If anybody has any idea, put it in the comments. But Alex, what's your scenario? What do you think happened where they had to say no more outside balloons?
The only thing that would possibly come to mind would be the rodeo clown from Slash Trax doing something. Pennywise, the clown, might be harassing the shop, possibly. Maybe somebody saw the movie Up once too many times. I have no idea. That is a really weird thing to post on the door.
I'm going to send somebody out in the field and get a picture of that. Kind of like a picture I had from a store that said, start as of, like, I can't remember the date. It was a few years ago. No more boob or sock money. I guess a lot of people were, it was in the middle of summer. I think I sent that to you before.
We put
that picture. It was a real one.
We put that in a show. The boob money, because the money gets sweaty and they have to like unfold it.
Yeah.
I'm not taking your filthy, sweaty boob money. Get that shit out of here. We only take
no more balloons in here.
Yeah,
Get
don't bring
balloon
balloons in here either. We're only gonna. You brought in too much boob and sock money. We're only gonna accept debit cards from you from now on. And then she like pulls a debit card out of her ass crack.
That's where you slide it.
Yeah.
Don't ask if there's a chip.
You want to get into nice comment, mean comment, nice comment?
Let's do it. Do we have a mean one?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Nice comment. Keep them coming. Reminds me of watching movies with my dad. We'd do the same exact thing. And that's 5555 CLMX. And that's regarding Slash Trax number 38, Halloween Kills.
Oh, wow. That is sweet. I remember that one. That was a sweet one. I don't know if that means your father's gone or you're just remembering childhood, but either way, I'm glad that we could bring that memory back for you. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it reminds me of when, you and I were younger, and we've told stories about how we do that with our friends too. And it's exactly the vibe of the show that we are going for.
Yeah. There's already Mystery Science Theater and stuff, so.
Yeah, if we wanted to make a straight up Mystery Science Theater ripoff, Josh and I would watch the movies, take notes, write jokes, film each scene piece by piece, and then edit it together. But we don't do that. We want it to be something different, and we want it to be fun, like you're watching movies at home with your friends. So I'm glad that that person got the gist of what we were doing and picked up the vibe. Let's do a mean comment, Josh.
Well, 1 second. You may have inadvertently given away personal information on this person because it sounds like they're a TV character and they put their phone number as their username. 555555.
No, that's Jennifer. That's Jennifer Parker's phone number from Back to the Future. When they're by the clock tower in the first Back to the Future, and she writes her phone number down, the fastest handwriting of all time, like 555, wham! Like, I love you. Call me Jennifer, Marty. You remember that scene? She like grabs the clock tower handout, writes her number and a little love note on it, and hands it to him. It looked like she wrote for a millisecond. No fucking way. Mean comment. Whoever said you two, TOO, so misspelled, are funny, need their, so not THEIR to show ownership, it's THERE, need their heads examined. It doesn't say examined, it says exam, INNED, MAGA, 2024. By the way, he is in better shape than both. He spells both BOATH. You broke BROAK. Unfunny fatzos, and he spelled fatzos FATSOZE. So I'm assuming that he's referring to Donald Trump because it says MAGA. So he must have taken offense to one of our Donald Trump jokes from a previous episode. We're broke, unfunny fatzos. This is Belisa Music Soul 129, and this was in regards to Slash Trax News number 29. So this guy hates us.
Is this the one where we made fun of him saying because we weren't even making a political joke. We were making fun of him saying he was 215 pounds.
Yes, that is exactly what it's in reference to.
It's got to be that. I definitely weigh less than 215. I'm sorry. He said, so Donald Trump, what this guy is referring to when he's ripping on Josh and I, in horrible broken English, misspelled bullshit all over the place, non-correct word usage for the vernacular. Basically, we did a story on Lamar Jackson, the quarterback for the Ravens, is like 6'4", 215. He is a stud athlete. And Donald Trump, when he reported to jail for his mugshots, he reported the same height and weight as Lamar Jackson. So it's just ridiculous. It wasn't a political thing. It was just like a thing. That's stupid. That he would. It's like Donald Trump didn't realize that people have the internet and can fact check his bullshit. That's all. It had nothing to do with a political party. So it's a good thing he's got whatever the dude's username is to defend him so heroically. Since he's not. I mean, yeah. Sorry we personally offended you, buddy.
In the future, if you're going to rip on Josh and I, please spell it correctly and have your fucking... This guy wrote like a serial killer. I'm surprised it wasn't in all block capital letters. Like, fuck this guy. Let's get into the last nice comment of the episode. All right.
Okay.
Prepare to feel pretty good about yourself, Josh. I wore my 3D glasses, and it made these guys, Alex and Josh, even sexier than they already were. And that's from Sheila Oliver, 483. And she's talking about Slash Trax Reviews, episode number 6, Freddy's Dead.
That is so true. I mean, it's just... What can I say? It's a Josh and Alex enhancer.
Freddy's Dead. It's like when you start the podcast, right before the mean comment, nice comment, mean comment, make sure you put your 3D glasses on right when Alex and Josh put theirs on. Right, like when we put our 3D glasses on.
She put them on and everything got blurry. That's what happened. God. She's like, "Damn, they're hot."
Wow.
But
they look so much better they look so much better blurry than they do normally.
Yeah, so appreciate that regardless.
All right, we need some Dear Slashy questions for the future episodes. We haven't had a Dear Slashy question, Josh, in like the last 3 episodes. So, Slashaholics, we know you've got some problems with your love life, financial issues, what to watch on TV. What do we think is a better idea for you personally or financially, whatever. We are here to give you some great advice, write in to slashtrax2020@gmail.com, and we will answer your questions in a future episode and put you in the episode. Send a Dear Slashy question. Do it.
You know, in lieu of that, I do want to tell you about a really cool holiday movie I saw that you may have never seen before.
Okay.
I can't remember the name of it, but it's about this family that's like really mentally and emotionally abusive to one of their kids, to the point that like they go on vacation and like don't even want to take him with them, and they just leave him behind. I don't know if you've ever seen this movie. And you know, I'm pretty sure they hired a couple bad guys to like go kill their kid because like these dudes are like obsessed with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally understand at the end why his family thinks that way, because he's like a little demon, dude. He's like got some evil like jigsaw qualities. He sets all these like horrible traps and torture devices for people instead of just calling the cops on them. I can't remember what it's called, but it's got John Candy in it. So
John Candy's a poker player in that movie, and I would say that the Jigsaw-like kid, those crooks had everything coming to them because of all the pent-up angst and rage that he had because Buzz ate all of his cheese pizza. So the family should have known some shit was going to go down when they only ordered one cheese pizza, first of all, for the kid who only will eat cheese pizza, and he's got, like, anger issues. So they ordered, what, 14 pizzas? They should have at least got 2. So that's strike number 1 on the McAllisters. Fucking dicks.
why did John Candy give her a ride? Why didn't she just go, I'll just rent a car? I mean, it's like they just wanted John Candy in the movie so bad, they just took logic out, because she could have just rented her own car, right?
I think it was because she couldn't rent a car because it was Christmas Eve, so there was nothing available.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, but you're incorrect.
Okay, I'm sorry. First time I ever saw this movie.
Okay, I forgive you then. Yeah, so you're wrong, first of all. It's Christmas Eve. I don't know if you're aware with renting cars how much of a bitch it is on the holidays.
John Candy got one.
Yeah, well, he's John Candy, man. He also got a sled when he was the Jamaican bobsled coach, and he didn't even have connections at that point anymore because he put weights in the front of his sled in the Olympics, and everybody hated him. He still got a sled.
Well, every episode, I'm going to try to tell you about a new movie I've seen that I'm pretty sure nobody else has ever seen. So
okay, you're like Alex. Alex, there's this guy, and he like used to murder kids, and he like gets burnt to death by like all the parents of the kids, and then he like comes back in the kids' dreams to get revenge.
Jacko.
Yeah, brand new movie. Have you seen it?
Jacko? Yeah, I have seen that.
I just watched. Hey, by the way, since Josh just mentioned Jacko, before we get into fun facts, Josh has been posting on the channel, the Slash Trax Network. If you know what the channel is, you're here watching us right now. He's been posting on the channel like replays of previous Slash Trax episodes we did, and he posted Jacko, and I forgot that there was a scene with Linnea Quigley where she literally, her character hasn't even been introduced to the film yet, and they just start out with her naked in the shower for no reason. It builds up nothing. There's no reason. She's like, I'll only get naked.
Up something.
Like, yeah, we put our faces over her boobs. But it was just like, yeah, I'll only do a nude scene in Jacko if it's like tastefully done and it makes sense for the plot. Neither one of them fit that criteria. It was just so stupid.
I promised Alex I wouldn't go off on any tangents before we started tonight, and that's all I've done. So I'm going to just sit back. Fun facts. What do we got, brother?
Okay. Hey, Josh, the world's longest hangover lasted 4 weeks.
Jesus Christ.
4 weeks, man.
Wow. Who recorded it? Like, did he go to the doctor?
He did go to the doctor.
Go home. You know, have some spaghetti or eggs or something to soak up the alcohol. You'll be fine. You know, like 3 days later, Doc, it's not over yet. You know, I've had like 24 eggs. Like, what do I do? Like, how did he? He
drank like, I don't know the exact number because I didn't write it down. He drank an inordinate amount of alcohol, in one day, super hungover for like the next 2 or 3 days. And he was like, well, I'm still really sick. I'm like really hungover. And he just waited it out a little bit longer, and then he was still really sick. And, after a couple weeks, he went to the doctor. Doctor was like, you threw off your body's internal chemistry. You changed your gut health completely by introducing that much alcohol to your body without dying, basically. So he changed it. Yeah. So it led to a 4-week hangover. No word on if this guy ever drank again, but 4-week hangover. I'm going to be honest with you. When I finally got sober, my hangovers were lasting like 3 days. I can't imagine 4 weeks though. I would never drink again. Are you fucking kidding me? A whole month?
I don't know if I've ever had a hangover. I'm being honest. Not like I've always gotten, when I'd get shit faced or whatever, I would sleep so far into the next day that when I woke up, yeah, I kind of felt like ugh, but I never had like the headache or anything like that.
That it's a hangover then, if you slept through it. That's your body basically putting yourself in a coma.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah. You
I just didn't wake up drunk. So.
You just described a huge hangover.
Wait. Was Jumpin' Jeff Farmer the one that had the 4-week hangover? Was that you?
Yep.
Okay. He said so, so there you go. There's the source.
Okay. Hey, check this out. A death row inmate discovered there was untested fingerprints that had been found at the original crime scene that he was, in jail for. In a last-ditch effort, he petitioned to the court to run the tests on the fingerprints. So the court agreed to do it, and then everything came back, and it was found out that those were his fingerprints.
Really?
Yeah. So in a last-ditch effort, he's like, oh my God. He's doing his research at the police or, the prison library or whatever, and he finds out that there's fingerprints that weren't tested in the discovery or the evidence log or whatever. And he's like, okay, please test these. And they're like, sure, no problem. And they test them, and it's like, oh no, it's just more fingerprints of your own. Like, you're definitely guilty. Like, for sure, we're killing you. I just thought that was fun.
Tony the Spider, did you plant those fingerprints at the crime scene?
Here's Tony the Spider.
If you people only knew.
That means, wait, did he plant? Why would Tony plant them? Does he not like the guy who's on death row?
I guess it was Tony's fingerprints there, man.
Oh, Tony's on death row.
I gotta clean. Yeah. No, his were there, and he went and cleared them away and planted the death row guys there, so they didn't find out they were Tony's.
Okay.
That's what I'm guessing.
Wow, Tony. Many layers to Tony. Hey, did you know that the type of skin on your lips is called mucosa, and it's the exact same skin that you can find on your anus?
I actually did know that. I actually did. I'm married to a nurse. That's the only reason. So many of these weird health facts, but that's crazy, right?
That is crazy. You know what? There's another fun fact that I'm going to put on top of that one. Coincidentally, Josh, this is the same skin, mucosa, that makes up of all of our mean comment earlier in the show, Belisa Music Soul 129's entire head. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. His whole head is made up of asshole skin. So, isn't that random?
Yeah, and since our eyebrows are actually pubic hair, the same type of hair as pubic hair, he's got pubic hair on his asshole. So.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Does our eyebrows are pubic hair like in nature? Are you?
Yeah.
What? How come they're not all curly and shit then?
They are, man. It just don't grow long enough. You never had like a curly eyebrow hair that's like sticking out and you have to like yank it off there?
No, I haven't. No, but it sounds like you have.
No, they are. Fun fact.
Okay, last fun fact of the show. Josh, mosquitoes not only bite you and suck your blood, but when they're done, they also urinate on you before flying away. Because they have so much liquid in their body. They're like displacing their blood they just sucked from you, and they're pissing so they can fly again. So they suck your blood, and then they piss all over whatever part of your body that you, donated blood to them for. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm not gonna kink shame. Sorry, no comment. Not gonna kink shame a mosquito. If they're into that sort of thing.
Well, Josh, what's weird is here's another fun fact on top of that fun fact. Mosquitoes, the actual genus name of a mosquito is called the R. Kelly genus. Yeah.
I would love to tell you a story about a certain person who recently, in a high school gym, doing a speech, talked about golden showers. Just happened the other day. But I don't want to get another comment from the person that wrote all the words incorrectly and stuff, and it would definitely piss that person off.
Okay.
Look it up.
Since you're talking about that Republican person, I'm going to talk about the other side of the coin. President Biden just turned 81. Did you see his fucking birthday cake? Did you see all 80? It looked like he had a bonfire on top of this cake because he had 81 candles. He's the oldest fucking president ever, by the way, in office. But the cake didn't just have like the novelty 8-1 on it. It had 81 lit candles. It looked like a bonfire. Like it looked like the fire barrel in Rocky when Stallone is walking around and he's like down on his luck and those guys are singing around the burning barrel. That's what Joe Biden looked like he was standing in front of.
He probably had a flame, a flame eater as one of his, as the entertainment there. Because that's the only way I can see them lighting the whole cake, like, and blowing the fire out, like, lit all the candles. Did he have 81 people lighting candles? Have you ever tried to light, like, 20 candles? It's impossible. It's impossible.
Well, first of all, did Joe Biden even know it was his birthday? First of all. Second of all, there's no way he's blowing out all those by himself. And third of all, I'm just proving a point right now that we can do equal opportunity, make fun of, like, we're not a political show. So MAGA, fuck you, guy in the comments. We're not one way or the other on this show. We make fun of everybody.
Straight down the middle. We hate everybody equally.
Call it just like we see it. Josh, let's get into a would you rather. And this is a really good would you rather, by the way.
Okay.
All right. Josh, would you rather learn about how you're going to die, like exactly how you're going to die, or would you rather learn exactly when you're going to die?
We had a similar one to this before, but this one makes it a little easier. No, not exactly this. I think I'd rather know how. That way, when it starts happening, I'm like, oh, fuck that. No. I don't want to push the button. Thank you. No.
Yeah, but you know that you're going to end up dying that way anyway. So by avoiding it, you're going to end up, something's going to happen some final destination shit is going to happen that's out of your control. So by you avoiding
I think I'd like to know how it's going to happen more than when, because if I know when, I'm never going to enjoy life again. So, yeah.
I think I'd rather know when I was going to die, because then I could really plan out my last couple of weeks and just do some really crazy fun shit. Because if I know I'm going to die, right? I know on this date I'm going to die. Then any day before that, I can go bungee jumping, I can go skydiving, I can do anything I want, I can go swim with sharks, because guess what? I'm not dying that day. Who gives a shit?
That's a good point.
So I can go do all the things I'm afraid of now, right?
Hmm?
Well, I mean, if you have to choose, I don't want either one, but if I have to, Slashaholics, what do you guys think? Would you rather know when you're going to die or how you're going to die? Weigh in down below in the comments. This is a great question, in my opinion. I want to hear the answers.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking forward to some comments that actually brighten my day instead of someone fucking talking shit down below. Josh, let's get into some sports.
Okay. Fine.
I apologize for my anger right there. It was unnecessary. It was out of place. I apologize. Jumpin' Jeff Farmer.
Sorry.
Jumpin' Jeff Farmer. Am I really sorry?
Yep.
I take him at his word.
Yeah, I told you I was.
His one word. Yep.
Hey, sports. So we're getting into sports. Your favorite, my favorite. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Runner banned for 12 months for using a car during a marathon. So, Scottish ultra marathoner Jessica Zakaruski has been disqualified from the GB Ultra Manchester to Liverpool race for using a car. So she used a car during part of the marathon. But here's the deal, Josh. She used the car and cheated and got caught, but she only finished third. So she used a car and only finished third. So somebody ran the whole race and still beat her when she was in a car during this race. 2 people did.
Sounds like the tortoise and the hare cartoon. You know, all the crazy stuff that the hare's up to. You know, on the side. It's like, wow, okay. Yeah, if you're going to use a car and you come in third. Was she driving one of those little smart cars or something? Like, what kind of car was it at this point?
I have no idea what kind of car it was, but like every race, they like track you. They like give you like a race bib that you like put to your shirt or whatever, and they track you. So when she was like in the car during this particular part of the race, they're like, oh, she's running, 2-minute mile or fucking 2-minute miles, 1-minute miles. That's physically impossible. Like first of all, she's a dum-dum, and second of all, if you're going to cheat, you might as well win. So I just find that hilarious.
Well, see, the runners didn't have to stop at stoplights. She did.
Yeah, I guess.
She had to stop and ask for directions.
Yeah, have you ever tried to drive when like you're trying to get somewhere and like part of the main road is like roped off because of the race? You're probably right. She probably had to take a detour. She fucked herself. She's an idiot.
She didn't think of that. She didn't think of that.
Yeah. Josh, coaches didn't think. Okay, let me give you some back. So this story is about a quarterback that used to be in the NFL named Jamarcus Russell. Okay, and he played for LSU. He played for LSU back in the 2003, 2004. He was a really good college quarterback. Got drafted by the Raiders. He gained a ton of weight, and he was considered one of the biggest NFL busts ever. Okay, so there's the backstory. So the Raiders coaches didn't believe that Jamarcus Russell was studying game tape. So they gave him a blank VHS tape. And they said, Jamarcus, take this tape home and study it, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. So the next day, Jamarcus shows up to the Raiders facility and said he watched the defensive blitz packages on the tape, and he was ready to discuss them. The tape was blank, Josh. It had nothing on it. They knew it. They knew it. They did it on purpose. It was blank.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they just wanted to see if he was full of shit, which he was.
What'd they do? What'd they do?
He did nothing. He ended up he only lasted in the NFL like 3 or 4 years. So I can only imagine that didn't help his standing around the Raiders facility. By the way, the Raiders sucked back then, and he made a lot of money for very little production. Really sad story, actually, but what are you going to do?
He could have saved himself. He could have saved himself because whenever they said, excuse me, whenever they said, tell us what you think of the first one, he could have said, well, now that you mention it, I'm drawing a blank. And it could have said, yeah, right there.
Yeah, he could have referenced that the tapes were blank. Last sports story of the episode, Josh.
Okay.
You're going to like this one. You're going to like
that was faster than driving a car in a marathon.
Yeah, but we didn't have any detours this time. Hey, no game film to actually watch, Josh. I handed you a blank VHS, bud.
I know, right?
Philadelphia 76ers reigning NBA MVP Joel Embiid was recently fined $35,000 for performing the DX Suck It crotch chop after a great play versus the Blazers.
I heard about that. Yep.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Did the suck
I don't think that he should have been fined though. If anything, he should have been like put on blast for referencing something from like 30 years ago. But still,
Josh, if people were put on blast for referencing stuff from 30 years ago, there would be no Slash Trax news. the show wouldn't exist anymore.
And we're about to find a new audience because not only have I been doing live Slash Trax episodes, I'm going to start dropping some past episodes of the news show and the reviews live. So that's going to be fun. Maybe we'll bring in some all-new viewers with that.
You should drop the Jason Goes to Hell news episode where we have 110,000 views that we've been stuck on for like 6 months and see if we can finally pass the 111,000 views number.
Tell people to come check out the full episode, you know. And to all the people that commented on Halloween, the last riff we did, welcome to the channel. I'm glad that you found the live version and checked out some of our other stuff. We hope you're here right now. That was pretty cool.
I know I mentioned it earlier, but by you posting these live Slash throwback stuff of novelizations, riffs, and you're planning on doing some news episodes, like it's almost like we have an actual network. Like a live network where it's just really neat. I think it's interesting. It's getting more eyes on the product, Josh, and I think I dig it. Yeah, and I like it so much that I want to head into the danger zone. Yeah, I want to head in, Josh. To wrestling. Yeah, let's get into wrestling. Dig it. Yeah,
let's do it.
Yeah.
Mr. Madness over here.
Yeah, we slithered with the snakes in the sports section. Now we're going to soar with the Eagles, in the wrestling section of the show.
Put on your 3D glasses and strap in.
Yeah, put on your 1, 2, 3D glasses. This is about to be bumpy, bitch, All right. First wrestling story of the show, Josh. On November 5th, 2006, over 17 years ago, the Nature Boy Ric Flair and the one and only Rowdy Roddy Piper defeated the Spirit Squad for the tag team titles. Do you remember that at all?
I do. It was a Taboo Tuesday or Cyber Sunday vote type thing, right? Mm-hmm. And they picked Rowdy Roddy Piper to be Flair's tag partner over Dusty Rhodes and Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah.
And you know, Flair had gotten the IC title and stuff back then, or it might have been after that. But Piper, that's all he had ever had was the IC title. He was never a world champion, you know. So to see him win another belt, yeah, he didn't, you know, but it was cool to see them put a belt on him. Mm-hmm. Kind of like Brett getting the U.S. title or Hogan getting the tag belt with Edge. I just wish Jake the Snake had gotten a chance to, you know, wear gold once. But yeah, Rowdy Roddy Piper never needed gold. But it was cool as hell to see Piper wearing at least the tag belt. That was a really cool moment.
It was really cool to see Piper with the tag team belt, and it was cool to see Flair with the tag title because not on screen but behind the scenes, Piper and Flair were really good friends.
They wife swapped.
Yeah, they were on Celebrity Wife Swap. They were very good friends. The only thing about that, like Piper was, you know, and Flair were clearly past their prime. Piper was still wearing just the trunks, not like, and he had his shirt off also. Piper was not in great shape physically when they won those titles, and I went back and rewatched the title match, and that's the closest thing I've ever seen to Piper being overweight.
Yeah. Kind of like whenever he came in and attacked Hogan in the Hogan Rock #2 or whatever.
Yeah,
with the pipe.
But
kind of fell. Yeah.
Piper was wearing the jacket, the awesome leather jacket, and the kilt and the shirt. So he still looked like Piper. But when Piper, like, I want to remember Piper from, like, when he wrestled Brett at WrestleMania. That Piper was, like, prime Piper fit. Like, his hair was really long. He was really lean. He was muscular. He looked great. Like, they live Piper. How about that?
Yeah. You know, and Hell comes to Frogtown and they live. We should totally do those on the other show sometime, even though we love Piper. I remember watching Royal Rumble 92. 92 is the year that Flair won the belt.
Yeah, and Piper won the IC belt at that same show.
Yeah. I honestly remember watching that, praying that Rowdy Roddy Piper would win the Royal Rumble. I really thought it was going to happen, that he was going to win both belts. And, yeah, even back then I was rooting for the Hot Rod.
That was one of the coolest, like, B or C storylines of that particular pay-per-view, because Piper's whole deal was he wasn't going to do it just once, he was going to do it twice in the same show. And I remember
that would have been great.
Yeah, I was just like you. I was like, man, I'd love to see that. And it totally could have worked too, because you could have had Piper win the world heavyweight title, and he could have easily slid into a heel role again, and took on Hogan later on in a main event for the belt. I mean, I don't understand how that was overlooked, but I guess they wanted to get Ric Flair over.
They could have still let Rick beat him, in a match later. I don't know, but it would have been cool, because back then, my favorite, I was a Hulkamaniac before that. I hated Piper. When I used to rent videotapes of old pay-per-views all the time. We didn't have, cable and stuff to see the syndicated shows until, Monday Night Raw started. So Coliseum Home Video was my window to wrestling back then. But my favorite toy around that time period was my Hot Rod WWE, I think it was LGN or something, where he's got the long hair, he's got the kilt on and the Hot Rod shirt. I would kill to have that figure again. They put out a re-release, but it's not the same.
Oh, I think you're referring to the Hasbro one.
Hasbro, yeah.
Hasbro. His arm would go down, he had action, almost like a, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
That was my favorite toy. I had it in a safe when my parents' house burned down. It had that, my wrestling magazines that I was in from, I was in the rankings of PWI. Our indie fed was in the back listed of independent federations, and it had rankings for each independent federation.
What?
So I was literally in PWI listings for the back issues. I can get back issues and show them off, but all that stuff burnt down. My Hulk Hogan autobiography that he signed and Jimmy Hart signed, I lost that.
Wait a minute. I want to talk to you about you were ranked in PWI in the back?
Yes, but for my independent federation that I was wrestling for.
I know.
Not total, but yeah.
You
I was
were
in the
still
back of
in it.
yeah.
You were still in it, though. Okay, so first of
VIP.
all, what years were that? What years were you active?
I think that would be between 2003 and 2007.
Okay.
Then 2003, 2007, and then I think the last couple were in 2009. So, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to definitely be on the lookout for that. And also, the WWF Hasbro Roddy Piper figure, I think Santa will probably bring you that this year, for sure. And also, before we get into the next wrestling story, I had recently visited the grave location of Hot Rod. So yes. I know that we were gonna you were gonna put the clip or whatever of me at the grave site. So right now, I guess we could go to the clip real quick of me going to his, where he's buried.
Yeah, let's go to the clip.
Hey, Slashaholics. I'm here visiting the grave of Roddy Piper, WWE Hall of Famer, Hollywood star, probably one of the main reasons that WWE is what it is today. If there was no WrestleMania 1 and all the success that it had, there probably would be no WWE and all the stock and, publicly traded company and everything else that's going on with it today. He wrestled against Hulk Hogan in the main event with Ace Cowboy Bob Orton, Mr. Wonderful, and then Hogan had Mr. T on his side. Piper was in and out of the company multiple times, but every time he showed up, he made a massive impact. Famous for not putting over, or not cleanly losing in matches, but by WrestleMania 8, he finally put over Bret Hart, who he called his cousin, and that was a really big deal. And he was in the movie They Live. Me and Mother Evil just put a pair of sunglasses down on his grave marker as a show of respect. And crazy, I feel like we were just watching the episode Wife Swap with him and Ric Flair. It feels like it was just yesterday.
but probably, maybe if not like the best heel of all time, maybe top 2, top 3 heels of all time in wrestling, and a lot of charisma, one of the best talkers ever on the mic, and he's definitely missed, and this is surreal to even be here, so much respect to Roddy Piper, Roderick Toombs.
I'll take a picture of me, Bob.
I really wish I could have been there with you. That was really cool.
Yeah,
It's
when
intense.
you come to visit, because I'm going to visit you at some point, when you come to Oregon, we'll definitely make a day trip and pay homage to the Rowdy one again. The one thing that I noticed about the gravesite, and when I told you about it, you said something that I actually thought. His headstone is so not flashy. It's so like just an everyday average headstone. There's nothing extra about it. He probably go ahead.
I was gonna say what was exactly that I said about that.
You just said that he probably wanted it that way. That's probably how he would have wanted it, which is exactly how he lived his life. He lived in the mountains of Oregon, like in the backwoods with his family. His favorite meal was meatloaf and mashed potatoes and vegetables. He was so different from his character on TV. Like he was 100% a family man. He put his family first, which I think was why he had such long gaps in between being active. He would just disappear and do indie shows in Portland, and he would wanted to be around his family.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
pretty
tell
rare.
you what, if you want to get a feel for his heart, watch, and it's hard to watch now. I like to watch at least once a year, Legends House.
Yeah.
Because we've almost lost everybody on Legends House, but you really get a feel for his heart. You know, at first he's a little leery about doing the show, but once he gets comfortable, the friendship he makes with Hacksaw Jim Duggan, the tears in his eyes when he's hearing stories, like Jimmy Hart losing his daughter and everything like that. Watch Wife Swap. At the very end, he shows real concern, literal concern for the path Ric Flair's taking. He starts crying, taking Rick's hand, saying, "Brother, I just want what's best for you." Because Rick's still making those mistakes to this day. And now he's going to AEW, and they're probably going to put him in the ring at some point. I'm to the point now, and maybe this is unpopular opinion, but if that man wants to die in the ring, he's earned that right, in my opinion. So,
I think it's really weird, first of all, that you said that, because the next wrestling story, and I want the Slashaholics to know ahead, he does not know the rundown. So here's the next story. Ric Flair has signed with AEW, and Flair stated that he has received clearance from his doctor with regards to taking bumps and performing in the ring. So, who's his doctor, first of all?
Kevorkian.
Who gave him clearance?
Dr. Kevorkian.
Okay. And does that mean, because we've already seen the last, the Ric Flair's last match was a huge pay-per-view that was very successful, that was put on by Conrad Thompson, his son-in-law, and Jim Crockett Promotions had a whole deal. It was a whole thing. And it actually did really well. But Ric Flair looked like absolute crap in that match. He looked exhausted. He blamed his poor performance for the fact that he was drinking all day long and he was dehydrated or something. But he looked horrible. He couldn't take the bumps. He's old. He's over 70 years old. It's like there's no shame in it. He does not need to be in the ring anymore. Listen. I love his passion for the business. I love that he's going to go out with his bootstraps on, but at the same time, you're doing the business a disjustice or a disservice by continuing to put yourself into matches like this, because it's not believable. The wrestling business was built on like kayfabe, like suspending disbelief. Okay, I do not believe that Ric Flair can beat anybody. Okay, so he looks like shit. He does not need to be in a match. Can he be a manager? Yes. Can he be a president or a commissioner? Yes. He can do all that stuff. I just don't want to see him in the ring. And I was going to say what you said was he earned the right to die in the ring. So since they had his big pay-per-view his last match, is the next pay-per-view that Tony Khan and AEW are going to promote, is it going to be called The Death of Ric Flair? I mean, is that the next one where it's like Ric's going to die tonight and buy the pay-per-view? You can see it.
I think that you are right that it's not believable, and I think Rick knew that. I honestly believe the reason Rick was drinking so hard the day before his last match is because he had planned on dying in the ring that night. I really believe that. I believe the reason he's signing with AEW and getting clearance to wrestle is because it didn't go the way he wanted it to before. I mean, the guy's got depression problems too. It's not a secret. And whoever the doctor is, and I made a joke, Dr. Kevorkian, with the guy that did assisted unaliving of people. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's what Rick's plan was in his final match. I think he planned on dying that night. When it didn't happen, he's on to plan B. So
I don't know that he wants to die in the ring. I think he just wants to. I don't think he knows any other way to live his life. And whatever it is that fills him up as a human being, the only thing that he gets even remotely close to that is wrestling, unfortunately. And I don't know. Listen, Tony Khan gave Ric Flair to Sting as a gift. That's what the storyline is.
Yeah.
Sting's going to retire. This is Sting's victory lap, and Sting is going to retire in a year. And Ric Flair was his gift, I guess. And I don't know.
Ooh, big burn to Hulk Hogan by Sting, though. Did you see the AEW thing where Sting starts talking about his past gimmicks? Mm-mm. And he's like talking to the guy in the ring. I don't remember who he's talking to. He's like, Surfer Sting, I was still young and whatever, woo, or whatever. He's like, then it was NWO, the Crow Sting, big shout out to Big Kevin and the bad guy, points up to the sky or whatever. No mention of Hogan. When he says the NWO.
I think that Hulk Hogan is like persona non grata in AEW. Like Tony Khan does not like Hulk Hogan for whatever reason.
But Sting, if Sting wanted to say it, Sting would be allowed to, man. That's all. So I don't know. He said Ric Flair, Kevin, Scott Hall. He listed so many names, and Hogan just wasn't on that list.
Maybe they're working an angle. Maybe Hogan's going to show up at the next pay-per-view and be like, "You didn't mention my name, dude," and he's going to be like walking down in a freaking walker, because Hogan can't even walk anymore, by the way. Did you know that?
That's sad. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Hulkamania is going to walk slowly on you.
Hulkamania's crawling wild, brother. I was going to say, so speaking of Hulk Hogan, this is not even on our rundown sheet. I'm not going to talk a lot about it, but I'm just going to mention it. Speaking of Hulk Hogan, unfortunately, his son, Nick, was just arrested last weekend for another DUI. And Nick, in case you Slashaholics don't remember, when Nick was 17, when he got into that car wreck in his Hulk Supra, when they were going to a steakhouse, him and his best friend were driving down to the steakhouse. It was around the Hogan Knows Best times. He lost control of his car. He had been drinking earlier in the day. He actually blew. When you're underage, if you blow anything, it's still illegal. So he was underage. Blew a pretty low number, but it was still illegal. Ended up putting his friend, it made him a vegetable forever. So I was really sad and upset to see that Nick had gotten another DUI, because it's like, you went to prison, dude. Like, have you not learned anything? Like, this guy does not need to ever have a driver's license ever again. He doesn't need to drive anywhere. This fucking guy has been riding his dad's coattails his entire life, and I'm sick of it. I don't want to see him kill somebody or himself. He doesn't need to drive anymore. Get a fucking razor scooter, or ride a skateboard, or jog, or do whatever you need to do. Don't drive anymore. Like, you're revoked. That's it.
That's like, if you don't learn your lesson, because that'd be like if I entered another Face of Horror contest or something like that. Didn't learn my lesson the first time. That it's all bullshit. it all came down to people buying votes for themselves.
Yeah, that was I haven't really spoke on that at all, but like I was extremely proud of you for finishing as high as you did, but it seemed like some sort of scam to get money.
That's what I feel like, because the person that won wasn't even in horror. They weren't in the horror community. They're just some person that showed some flashy pictures of herself and got people to shell out money to vote for.
Cool.
So
awesome.
Yeah.
Very
Anyways, Thank you all for voting, though. It was fun, and it really helped the channel. We gained so many subscribers in that time period. It's amazing. And if you're watching the show and you came from that time period, thank you so much for checking us out. We're glad to have you here. We really are.
Josh, I'm proud of you, whether it was a scam or not.
Thank
you know what do you know what wasn't a scam?
What's that?
Last wrestling story of the episode. Over 32 years ago, on October 21st, Jake the Snake Roberts had his Cobra bite Macho Man Randy Savage in the ring.
Blood and all.
Do you remember that? And what was your 7-year-old mind thinking when you saw that go down?
It was pretty fucking terrifying. I saw it on Coliseum Home Video, as I said before. But yeah, like the blood, man. That was like, I had seen accidental blading and stuff, and I had seen one match with Sergeant Slaughter versus like Hacksaw or somebody where you can actually see that him like tap the referee, and the referee digs the blade out of his pocket and hands it to him. I got to find that clip for you. God. It's like SummerSlam or something. He hands it to him. Anyways, I had seen that kind of blood, but to see a snake attacking Macho Man and blood coming out of his arm, there was no faking that, And I just got to imagine Macho Man was so pissed off that it was that bad.
They couldn't get the Cobra's a bite to let up. Like they had to, like Jake kept hitting the top of the Cobra's head, and it just kept biting harder and harder.
It's like it tastes like Slim Jim. Oh yeah, snap into a Slim Jim.
That just makes me realize like how great of a performer Macho Man was, though, to be that committed to let a fucking Cobra bite your bicep in the middle of the in the ropes. He's tied up in the ropes. He has no defense. He's such a great he sold all out to that character and to his gimmick and to his career, and whatever they say about Macho Man being possessive or like controlling or whatever it was in his personality, it made him successful too. How about that?
Yeah, and that was one of the most extreme realism things that ever happened up until Voodoo made the Ultimate Warrior puke up black bile. That was
son of a bitch. That was around this. I was just gonna test. I was like, that's around the same time that Ultimate Warrior was puking on WWF Superstars, or like when Ultimate Warrior was in the casket and he's trying to get out, and he's crawling. You can hear the Warrior. He's moving less and less. Oh my God, will he be around for next Saturday's Superstar taping? The Warrior may be dead.
That's a good segue into horror right there.
Why did okay, so the Warrior had a feud with the Undertaker, but it was only on like house shows. So they were making a storyline for the Ultimate Warrior to like be feuding with the Undertaker, but they never paid it off at a pay-per-view. And from what I remember, Josh, because I'm such a nerd that I would go back and read the results of house shows.
Yeah.
Ultimate Warrior never lost to Undertaker. There's highlights, there's video of Ultimate Warrior putting Undertaker in a body bag, because they would have body bag matches. Like Ultimate Warrior just zipping up Undertaker. Undertaker's supposed to be the dead man, unbeatable. Yeah. Warrior's just shaking the ropes, like hitting him with the clothesline, fucking gorilla pressing him, and then zipping him up in a body bag. It's crazy.
So when I introduced you to that website that has like every match result ever, did you get like hooked on it or something?
It was a fun rabbit hole to go down, because if you look, so I had also seen there was a trivia question on like Twitter or Instagram, I can't remember, but someone was like, who has the top 3 most wins in WWF history? So who do you think it would be, Josh? Who are your 3 guesses? Top 3 wins all time WWF.
Hulk Hogan, Bruno Sammartino, Uh, Brock Lesnar.
Okay, so they're all three good guesses, and none of those three guys are in the top three. You can go one more time.
Ultimate Warrior. The model Rick Martel.
Arrogance.
And the Brooklyn
Out of my
Brawler.
Okay,
I don't know.
all three wrong. Here are the answers. John Cena, Undertaker, Bret Hart.
Yeah, Brett. I should have guessed Brett because
Bret was around forever, and he won a lot. And also, house shows, pay-per-views, he was around forever. The Undertaker surprises me because if he was eating that many pins in a body bag, in the early 90s, and he was losing to Hogan, he was losing to whatever, it's like that surprises me. And John Cena doesn't really surprise me because Super Cena, there was a point where he never lost.
mm-hmm.
All he does is lose now. Cena never wins. He comes back, he's losing. He's putting over whatever talent he's wrestling with, which is kind of cool, Josh, because he's flipped it completely.
Yeah. I hated him in the beginning because I didn't think he cared about wrestling. I thought his gear was atrocious, like sneakers and jean shorts.
Jorts.
Yeah, like I just didn't. I thought he was just a flavor of the week, gonna use wrestling to just get himself over and leave it behind, kind of like Brock Lesnar. But he's really turned it around. I still think that he should have been heel at some point because people were booing him. They should have went into that. But he is paying back the business, and that's pretty cool. And the first time I ever saw him was in a wrestling training DVD where he was wrestling. He was getting into wrestling in a training DVD, learning how to wrestle as the prototype.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty cool. He was like 19 years old, big old muscle head, meathead, taking bumps and stuff for the first time. That was pretty cool.
Fun fact about John Cena before we go into the horror, scary section of the show. John Cena, Slashaholics, if you watch the WCW movie Ready to Rumble, John Cena is in the background of the gym working out when David Arquette and the King are training during that scene. So if you look closely or you pause it, you can see John Cena working out. I think he's on a pec deck. So he's like in the back doing the pec deck, the you know what I mean, machine?
Yeah.
But Cena wasn't a WCW guy, so it makes it even more interesting. It's kind of weird.
And Paul Logan, I want to speak on this. Ooh, what did Conan say? Let me speak on this. I can't. Dude, I used to watch it all the time. I don't know. I'm messing up.
It's been 23 years since Conan's been on TV, so you're allowed to make a
Moon
mistake.
#1. No, I'll never have respect for that guy as a wrestler.
Conan or John Cena?
Paul Logan. Logan Paul.
Logan Paul.
Yeah, Logan Paul. Never.
Dude, we're not young enough. I just don't see the appeal. It's like, oh, he's on YouTube. Like,
yeah.
Does that mean that I can be a wrestler? I mean, I know we're not even close to as successful as them, but I just don't. He's super athletic. I get it.
He became a millionaire, put himself in shape, and used that to get on TV. I mean, I don't know.
Paul brothers are super athletic. They have charisma. But I just aren't they isn't Logan Paul the perfect example of like a part-time wrestler? Don't they not want to have part-time guys come in and out and they're stealing spots from the people who are going on house shows and touring day in and day out?
Same with Brock Lesnar. I'll never have much respect for that guy either. So.
Yeah, I don't know. So that's the reason I don't like it. I don't like that they're stealing spots from actual wrestlers grinding and working their ass off. But
exactly.
Let's get into the horror.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, man. Nightmare on Elm Street, the 1984 classic movie, an original VHS sealed copy. So, and it was graded 9.4. So I believe 10 is probably the greatest score you can get. Recently sold on October 30th for $11,875, Josh.
That was the budget of the first movie. That's crazy. That's cool. That's cool. That's awesome.
Can they use the $11,875 to fund production for another one? Because they haven't made anything Like Nightmare on Elm Street is in production hell right now.
Pick any of the Black Flame Nightmare on Elm Street books. Get you the dude from the new Nightmare sequel or something. McRae, Dan McRae or whatever. Somebody to play Freddy. Make a fan film out of any of the Black Flame novelizations from the channel that I've narrated, and you got yourself a good story. Especially the VR one, the Dream Dealers. That would be choice, I think. We need more Freddy. We have like a zillion Jason fan films right now. Let's get some really, really good quality Freddy ones made. That would
I want an actual. I don't want a fan film. I want a real Nightmare on Elm Street film, and I want it. I want, and I've said this 1,000 times. I want a direct sequel to the original movie.
Yeah.
I want Nancy to be 60 years old now, and I don't give a shit how they do it. I want Freddy to come back, and I want them to square off one more time. And I don't give a shit what anybody says. If you make that movie with Robert Englund and Heather Langenkamp, and it's a direct sequel, it will make $100 million.
Yes. Yes, it will. And you can CG the shit out of Freddy if you have to.
You don't even have to. You don't even have to at this point. He's old, and Freddy's old. Freddy hasn't been around, right, since the first one, since it's a direct sequel. There you go.
What if, yeah, you could say that even in his dream world or whatever, he's been aging.
Yeah.
Yeah. Freddy's weak and old, and throughout the movie, he gets his power back, and you can use stuntmen or something to show that he's getting younger or something. I don't know. They've got, if they can do what they did with Princess Leia and all that stuff, they can do with AI and all that, they could do it.
Listen, you and I, like, we disagree on things, but, like, there's nothing, we always agree on this specific subject. Like, we 100% are simpatico on this. We need another Freddy movie, and Robert can do it.
Yeah, he can. Do it. There's ways to do it. Do it.
Stupid. Josh, on November 1st, 1985, over 38 years ago, Freddy's Revenge was released into theaters.
And to this day, nobody's called Rhonda, and nobody knows who he's getting revenge on.
And whoever was in charge of the editing and the video production for the titles on screen at the beginning of the film, they got the fonts confused. So
they were using all the fonts they could get. Oh, that one's cool. I like that one too.
Yeah, it's like when you were a little kid and you first have access to a Crayola 64 box. And instead of, being constricted to just 8 or 12 crayons, now you have 64 crayons. So for no reason, you just use them all. I think that whoever was in charge of the font was like, oh my God, I'm going to use this one. And then 10 seconds later, I'm going to use that one. And then the school bus is going to go through this font. And then we're going to call Rhonda, and it's going to be in that font.
It reminds me of back when I was in high school, and I'd sneak out to a gay bar at night and get drunk. And the coach would take me back to the school and make me run laps and take a shower, you know.
Yeah, I remember. I have memories of you doing that. I remember when we were in high school and you came over to my house and I had a Stray Cats poster up on my wall and a beanbag. And I remember you stayed the night and you said you had just eaten too much spicy food at the gay bar and it looked like something was going to burst out of your chest.
Yeah, and I told you I had been with a girl that was ready to go all the way, but I chose to come hang out there instead.
I understand, Josh. You've had some scary dreams. Now just shut up. Go to bed.
Call Rhonda.
Yeah, call Rhonda. Josh, last horror story of the episode. This is a big one, okay? So Miramax has recently secured the rights to the Halloween franchise, okay?
Oh, God.
Michael Myers is going to be heading to television for the very first time. So we don't know how, we don't know what it's going to be, we don't know if it's going to be a prequel, we don't know if it's going to be a continuation, we have no idea, but Michael Myers is heading to a television near you, Slashaholics.
Jumpin' Jeff, has this milk, wow, I'm messing this question up, he's going to be confused.
Miak.
Jumpin' Jeff, has this cow been milked to death at this point?
Yep.
That's what I think so too. That's my thoughts on it right there. It's over. Halloween ends. Halloween ends, not ends, ... perhaps. You know, like, what are we going to get? We're going to get Bates Motel, Michael Myers, where it's like Loomis and him in the institution, the years between, you know, Halloween 1963 when he killed his sister to Halloween 78 where he comes back after Jamie. Ooh, that'd be a good show, actually.
Oh
Like
my
him in the
God.
institution.
Do you work for Miramax, Josh? You just fucked your own point over. Hey,
That would be good. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Leave it alone.
listen, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert, okay? If you haven't seen Halloween Ends, actually, I can't say it because you haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it. I'm saving it.
Damn, I can't even do the spoiler alert. Anyway.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. It's fine.
He's dead, okay? He's fucking dead.
I figured. Unless it's
dead.
a paramedic again.
No, he's dead. He's 100% he's dead. Because
Okay.
they even went back and reshot the end scene to make it like you're dead. Michael Myers is dead, so he's dead. Okay? So it's going to be another part of the Myers universe. There's no way it continues from the Danny McBride trilogy. There's no way.
It's going to pick up from Resurrection. He's going to have lifts.
Busta Rhymes comes back because he's not doing shit I haven't seen him release an album or a television show or anything lately. So the only thing I've seen Busta Rhymes in was his Behind the Music when I got Paramount Plus, and I just watched it. So that I don't know. And then when did that come out? Like 15 years ago?
I can see Jamie Lee Curtis making phone calls right now. Don't even fucking ask. Don't. No.
There's no way.
No.
There's no. What do you do? What do you even do at this point? Is it just like if it's coming to TV, it's going to have to be on some sort of streaming service to where you can have gore, right? Because you can't put it on straight basic cable.
I honestly was joking earlier, but I can see a TV show being Michael Myers, young Michael Myers, starting out in season 1 when he gets taken to the institution in 63.
Okay.
And it being a show that connects those years of him in the institution with Dr. Loomis and other characters in the institution. Maybe Lori on the outside. You cut to scenes of her with her family, and it's a show that links him getting put in the institution in 63 and him breaking out in 78. They could even do a Young Rock thing where like some episodes take place the first year that he's in the institution. Some take place in the middle, and some take place the year that he escapes.
So they jump all over the place.
Yeah, they could do that. Like that would be a decent show, I guess, if they had to do it. But I don't think it would be smart to start in 63 and just kind of work your way up because the show could get canceled. But if they did little stories from his first year, like his 5th year or 6th or whatever, and then his last year there before escaping.
Yeah.
And they jump episode to episode, that could be interesting. What do y'all think? I think that's the only interesting thing they could do for a TV show. Like, you see how he changes from when he first got put in, a few years under Loomis's care, and the year that he's it's the year he's going to be escaping and going after Lori in the first movie.
Okay. So if it's like a Young Rock deal, does Michael Myers, is he like giving an interview to like in the present where he's running for president? And he's like going back and like kind of going through what led him to that point.
It could be him standing with the cops surrounding him. You know?
Yeah. Haddonfield, 1978.
Yeah.
Whatever.
You know, and you could even have flashbacks to his family life before he killed Judith. So
okay. Rob Zombie version, or like, are we going to the strip club where his mom's working at, or what?
No, we're doing John Carpenter version for sure.
Okay. Let's get into headlines, Josh. Let's get into the last section of the show.
Let's do it.
All right, man. Home Alone star Macaulay Culkin.
What?
Oh, yeah.
That's the movie I was talking about. No, go ahead.
Home Alone star Macaulay Culkin is finally going to receive a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame on December 1st.
Wow, that's awesome. He's earned it. I'm proud of him.
I'm also proud of him because he's had a really interesting arc of his, just like a journey of his life, because his mom and dad put him into the business at a really early age, and he was like paying for his brothers and sisters and his parents' like livelihood, like paying for their house and their food and all this other stuff. They were like fighting over him. His dad was like his agent, which was a reason that Macaulay like was having a hard time in Hollywood after Home Alone, because his dad was like had ridiculous demands and salary demands and like just a bunch of bullshit. But so I'm proud of Macaulay, and Macaulay had a lot of issues with substance abuse and alcohol and drugs allegedly, and he's bounced back. And if you guys haven't seen, I think it's called Red Letter Media. It's a huge YouTube channel, and Macaulay has appeared on some of these episodes, and they're just fun. There's an episode.
Too.
Yeah, there's an episode where they review the movie The Warriors from the 1970s, and just it's so much fun to see Macaulay Culkin just talk about a movie he really likes, and it's interesting to see his perspective on films from the outside or the inside looking in, from the outside looking in, I guess, because he has experience in the business. It's just really interesting. I was gonna say though, is him receiving a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Josh, is this all just a clever ruse or a setup by Harry and Marv to get Macaulay in a very specific place at a very specific time to finally get their revenge?
Well, I've always heard he was a good son. And, you know, my girl always told me that. But no, that would actually be interesting. A Home Alone rated R sequel where he's an adult and the sticky bandits finally get out of prison, you know, and they go after him as a grown-up.
Okay, dude, my mind went to a totally different place. You said an R-rated version, and then you said sticky bandits. So when you said sticky, my mind went to a totally different place with that.
12-year-olds. Oh, check him out in American Horror Story as well. Like a season or so back. That was pretty cool. He's been on rental reviews with on Cinemassacre and AVGN. Total renaissance for him. Couldn't be prouder of the dude. Feels like he was like a friend of ours growing up, and you're getting to see him, you know, succeed again. So that's pretty cool.
That's, you know what? That's funny you say that, because when we grew up in the early 90s, I felt like he was my friend. Like I always looked through his eyes and things he was doing. I felt like I was him. And that was another thing when Paul Rubens passed away. I think that's why it hit us so hard, was because his show came out when we were very little, and it was his show was filmed in a perspective to where he's talking directly to us and teaching us stuff. So he was like, in a sense, our first friend, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that's kind of a lost art. Maybe that's why Sesame Street and Dora the Explorer and all those shows and Paw Patrol and all those are still popular, are so popular, because they talk directly to the child. They don't talk down to them.
I would love to get to talk to Macaulay Culkin one day. You never know. Never know.
Macaulay Culkin could be hey, when the thumbnail for this fucking thing comes out and Macaulay's smack dab on it, maybe he'll come on the show. Maybe listen, we're no slouch. We've had 110,000 views on an episode. We've had 80. We've had 90. We're around. People can see us. I mean, we're not like we're not famous or anything. We're not like Tony from Hack the Movies. We're not famous, but we're semi kind of maybe known. Okay. You see us and you're like, hey, I've seen those guys around before. Okay. We're those guys. Maybe Macaulay will see it, and maybe Macaulay will come on the show.
That would be awesome.
Can you imagine it getting sidetracked with Macaulay Culkin?
It would just be awesome. We got to send him like a super love letter, you know, be like, you got to come on the show. You got to.
Josh, that would be, I could just die right now. And speaking of getting sidetracked, I want to address the elephant in the room. I'm not going to say the name, because if you follow us on YouTube, you know who it is. We're still waiting on confirmation for that episode. So Josh and I tried to film last week. Schedules were not in alignment, and they're still not lined up correctly. So we'll know more after this episode is released on Saturday.
Yeah.
So be on the lookout. Yeah, stay tuned. Second headline of the show, Josh.
Okay.
Man locks his head in a cage in an attempt to stop smoking. So, lifetime smoker Ibrahim Yusel locked his head in a cage in an attempt to stop smoking. His wife has the only key, and the cage is only opened during meals. So this guy, his head is like in a bird cage. or like a fencing, like what they look like when they're wearing a fencing mask or whatever.
Yeah.
But he's got a legit cage on his head, and it's locked, like the Man in the Iron Mask. This fucker can. How does he sleep with this thing on? Right? This is crazy, man. This guy really wants to stop smoking, man. What is your thoughts on this?
The really boring plot of a Man in the Iron Mask remake. It's just all so he doesn't smoke. No, when you first told me, and I'm not trying to be an immature kid here, I was like, I was picturing like a headless dude who just chopped his head off and put it in a cage before he died. I was like, what?
Yeah, because he's not going to stop smoking.
No. That's going the distance, man. He really wants to stop.
Good for him.
Vaping could help. You could always taper down on vapings and no nicotine, but hey, jump straight to cage, man. That works too.
The cage, I don't even know, whatever. So, no, vaping, though, isn't vaping just as bad? It's not regulated.
No,
I just saw a documentary on that.
The whole vaping, the documentary and all the bad stuff on vaping is big tobacco. They have so much money, and they don't want people having an alternative that takes money away from them. As soon as people started vaping more than smoking, all the bad stuff started coming out because big tobacco would rather have you scared to death of that and stick with the devil you know. Vaping, I really believe, all the bad stuff you hear about it is, and I'm not trying to be irresponsible, this is just my opinion, we're not saying it's fact, but big tobacco has done some nefarious things in the past. They're still doing nefarious things.
And you wouldn't put it past them?
I would not put it past them to spread all the disinformation about vaping so people would stick with the devil they know. But you can always vape and taper down to no nicotine, like, less and less nicotine to no nicotine. Or you can just put your head in a goddamn box. It's whatever. It's whatever.
Or you could have your family bury you in the sand, right? To where only your head's out, so you can't they just feed you. You know what I mean? Don't be at fucking low tide though and leave you, because when high tide comes in, you're dead like in Creepshow. So,
yeah. Leslie Nielsen.
Oh, I'm gonna stop smoking. Oh, really? How? Oh, I'm gonna have my family bury me up to my fucking head, and that's it. I'm not gonna be able to move. Josh, California bottomless brunch restaurants. So there's restaurants in California that are offering bottomless brunch mimosas. Okay, they are now charging.
No pants on.
They are now charging a $50 fee, a vomit fee. So basically these customers can't control the amount of mimosas they're drinking at these brunches, and they're puking all over the patios and tables and stuff, and now they are being charged a $50 vomit fee for cleanup.
Good.
What do you think about that? Do you think these people should be able to control their mimosa consumption or what?
Good. I think that poor bastard has got to clean that shit up. Gets a little bonus.
What the fuck are they, like Farva on Super Troopers, where he's like, open bar, dude, and he's got like fucking 8 Coronas and like 2 Passion Punches and like 3 rum and cokes, and then it like cut to a scene later, he's puking all over the place.
I want a liter of mimosa.
I need 3. Yeah, I need a liter of mimosa. It's for a cop. What the hell did you say that for? Oh, so we make it extra good.
Yeah.
There was a time, so this is just a quick side story about this. One time I got a ride home in a cab with this guy, and we were going to a house party, and he ended up puking all over the back of the cab. And I didn't know this guy very well, but the taxi driver was like, "Hey, you fucking puked all over the back of the cab. You're gonna have to pay for that." Like, so the guy wanted to like get into an argument and like possibly fist fight the cab driver. And I'm with this guy. I just met him. This is my first time hanging out with him outside of the club. And I'm like, fuck me. Like, so I just took $60, handed it to the taxi driver, and dragged him out of the car, and basically saved him money and an altercation or whatever. So anyway, flash forward like 2 or 3 weeks down the road, this guy became like an Alex fan. Like, I was bartending at a hotel. He'd just show up constantly. He would show up, and he kind of had a bad reputation. Like, I think he was a weed dealer, or maybe something a little harder. Like, let's just say that. Like, he ran around in a very tough crowd. But all of a sudden, just from me wanting to go to this house party and not have to deal with a fucking taxi cab incident, have a taxi cab confession situation going on, this guy became my best friend because, and not my best friend, but he like, every time I saw him, he's like, hey man, remember when I puked all over that guy's fucking cab and you like threw money at him and then I like got to go and like, I love you, man. Like,
Oh my
anyway,
God.
that
What a
happened.
stalker.
Yeah. So local drug dealer became my pal. Last story of the new episode. Are you ready, buddy?
Ready.
This is a big one. We've talked about this off screen before. Mario Brothers 3. Nintendo is thinking about possibly remaking it. So Mario Brothers 3, it's not going to be remade level for level.
Yeah.
They're gonna remake it potentially the same world, the same characters, but like a totally different game.
That's going to be great. That's going to be amazing. Between that, the Legend of Zelda movie being announced, live action, my favorite game of all time, Super Mario RPG, came out on November 17th. Got it that day.
Paper Mario.
Yeah, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door is getting remade next year. But the RPG game, by the way, brought my childhood back. It was the first like hard Mario game I ever beat, first RPG I ever beat. Like I went and got my parents. I was so proud when I beat that game. Never dreamed I would get a real sequel or remake. It was so great. Enjoying the shit out of it. Mario Brothers 3, that was my childhood, man. You went
Me
to the
too.
video store, if you didn't own the game yet, you prayed there'd be a copy of it to rent because it was so popular. If not, you were taking home Mario Brothers 2 again, for the weekend. But Mario Brothers 3, going to school, talking about Tanuki Suit turning into the statue, the warp whistles. I didn't even know about the World 2 warp whistle till I was like 20-something. I knew about the first two in World 1, but that rock, we talked about it before. I'm not going to go back
rock
down
to the other side of the level.
Yeah, in World 2, the desert world.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very stoked for this. I was a little bummed out when Super Mario Brothers Wonder doesn't have the Koopalings in it.
Mm-hmm.
It just has Bowser Jr. and stuff. But I think that's because they're making that Mario Brothers 3, which will have the Koopalings in it. And I think they're saving that for that. I think it's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Mario Brothers 3 was a masterpiece. And even like when that game came out in 1990 for me, I think I was 7. Even as a 7-year-old, I understood how great it was. And I remember it had a cartoon that I loved. It had McDonald's. I mean, literally maybe the best Happy Meals ever were based on Super Mario Brothers 3. They had 4 really cool toys. The Happy Meal boxes were amazing. I remember getting home from school and watching Super Mario Brothers 3 on TV. I remember playing Super Mario Brothers 3, not the game, role-playing it on the playground.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to be Luigi. I'm going to be Mario. You can be Toad. Whatever. You're Iggy Koopa today. Whatever.
Dude, I wrote a whole video game out in a sketch pad. Remember that story for part 4?
We on the slide or the Eagle's Nest would be the boss. So one of your friends would be the boss and they'd be on top. So like if you got touched like 2 times, you're dead by him. But if you touch him like 2 times, he's dead. Dude, we used to do that stuff.
Alex, stop jumping on Timmy's head. I just got to jump on his head one more time. And
I just need Timmy to fucking fall through the top of this Eagle's Nest to his death. Like, you know how like he's jumping through the bricks?
Yeah.
Blam! Blam!
He just turned Bowser into Macho Man for a second.
Bam! Bam! Yeah, dig it, Mario. Yeah. Hey, Mario, it's level 8, and I've got you for 10 minutes of playtime. Yeah. Just me and
Welcome
you.
to the dark world.
Yeah. And I got you for 3 minutes, Mario. Yeah. Oh no! Oh, the Macho Man! Oh no!
Somebody say 3 minutes. I'm sorry.
Hey, I didn't sound like Mario talking to Macho. I sound like fucking Pat Patterson talking to Mario. It's a Macho Man! He's a great I'm the first Intercontinental champion. Hey, Josh, you got anything to say to the Slashaholics before we end the show?
No, just I'm thankful for all of you. Sincerely, have a great holiday week. Be excellent to each other. Always remember the sun never sets on those who ride into it. check out the Patreon. If you want to donate to the channel, you can do it on PayPal. All the information for donations, Cash App, all that cameos in the description below. Email us at slashtrax2020@gmail.com. Good night and have a pleasant tomorrow. Say good night, Alex.
Good night, Alex. Mahalo, dogs. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
You got me mad now.